So I failed 6 exams in total. So that also added on to, because it's 235. I think it was at the time. I think it's more expensive now, but 235 for a test. So it's not cheap, but it can be for some people. I mean, I know of people that have only used the book and that was enough, and they passed all tests on the first try, and that can totally be you.
Welcome. My name is Jessica Villarreal, and this is your first time. I'm a foreign architect, and I'm in the process to get license in U.S. as an architect, specific in Florida. And today we have a special guest. Her name is Shadia, and I cannot wait, Shadia, to hear your story and share with us your experience, career, your life, and the process you recently get done and pass the test for architectural license. So, Shadia, welcome, and please introduce yourself and tell us about you. Tell us about where you live, when you moved to US. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, thank you, Jessica, for having me. I'm honored. Well, my name is Shadia Jaramillo. I'm originally from Panama. I was born and raised in Panama, and when I was 20 years old, I moved to the United States in 2013. So you can tell my age from that. But I actually moved to Arkansas. That's where I went to school. I did a B.Arch of architecture there for 5 years, and I loved it. I loved Arkansas. I lived in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and I was able to study abroad as well. So that was a really cool opportunity. With the degree, I studied abroad in Rome. And then after that, I moved to Florida. So from Arkansas to Florida. And I currently live in Pensacola, Florida. And I've been here for the last almost 7 years now. So six and some. And I first started working at a small boutique firm where I did mainly residential and small commercial projects. And I currently work at a much larger firm. I work at Goodwin Mills Kaywood, and I do everything but residential. So aviation, healthcare, higher education, yeah, just a little bit of everything. And I'm sure we'll delve into other things. But in the meantime, I also am very involved with AIA. Kind of sloping down right now. I'm taking a break, but yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Thank you. That's very nice. I would like to ask you, how you spend your free time. What you like to do when
Um,
you're not working?
that's a good question because you can see it right here. So like I said earlier, a little bit of volunteering because I'm very passionate about that, and it all kind of started from I was a resident assistant in school, and that's where kind of like my leadership track started. I love giving back and I love volunteering. So like I did that in school, and once I graduated, I started doing that within our organization, AIA. So I do a lot of that. Like I spend my free time on that. But after licensure, since you have all this time available to you, and I currently don't have any kids, I started a new hobby that I always wanted to pick up, but like I said, I never had the time because I was studying. But I 3D print right now. I'm really into technology, and you can kind of see it right here. After getting licensed, my fiance gifted me for Christmas a 3D printer, and it all started from there. And I've been kind of experimenting with different softwares, materials, kind of learning the settings and heat settings and properties of materials and things like that. But currently I do that, and I 3D print all kinds of things, vases, mainly like home decor right now. But I have ideas for other explorations.
So that's what you do for hobby right now.
Yes, that's my hobby. I love crafting. This was a creation post licensure, just because this is something that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about, but you know how when you're hyper focused on doing something, and that was me for 12 years since I began my architecture career. I was like, I want to be an architect. That's my focus. I want to be licensed. But then I moved to the US, and it's not like it is in Panama. When you graduate architecture school, you're an architect, period. But here it was different. So then I have an added on thing onto my process, which were the exams. And then you get licensed, and it's this climax in your career, like, oh my gosh, this is everything I wanted. But then after that, if you haven't really thought of what you're going to do after, or what your focus is going to be, what your goals are going to be, it's kind of like you have no path. So right now I'm kind of in the exploration phase of my career. I'm trying to see what I'm interested in, trying new things, and learning about new software materials, just exploration in
Awesome.
general.
I think it's important. It happened the same to me, and every time I interview for an architect, we don't get to the position. I'm like, I made it. This is what I like it. This is what I do
Yes.
for forever. It's always a change. It's always something new in our minds, or something inspire us to do. Like I was telling you early, I'm changed my career from being architect for 10 years, 12 years, and then I'm like, I'm gonna be a health coach, and that's gonna be my role. And guess what? No. And so, but the most important part here, I think, is keep it learning, and
Hmm.
keep doing what you feeling to do at the time. It make you grow.
Totally. Yeah.
That's
And
my approach.
yeah, I agree with you. I almost see it as like our lives are a constant iteration process. One
Yes.
day you're something, one day you're trying something else, and you're evolving and you're learning. And I I have this conflicting thing that I'm going through right now, which is like specialization versus generalist. Because
Mm.
there's a lot of people in our field that only do K through 12, for instance, or only do aviation, or only do healthcare. And in the company I'm at, like I have that full spectrum of project opportunities to be a part of. And I also have the choice to be a generalist or a specialist. But right now, like I told you, I'm in the exploration mode. And I think focusing on something at the moment doesn't feel like the right thing to do, just because I'm still learning. And I feel like you always will continue to learn. But yeah, just being open to learning every day, I think it's important.
That's awesome. So tell me, who or what inspired you to be an architect? How everything started? Why architect?
Oh my gosh, that's an interesting question. I don't think there was a person, because when I was young, I always wanted to be a doctor. A career in architecture never crossed my mind, and I think that's because I didn't really know what an architect was. I mean, we see all these shows on TV about people building homes and things like that, but they never really talk about the architect. And I just didn't have that information available. So I think um, I just gonna say something really small, but it's important that we have programs nowadays that do showcase students from K through 12 what architects do and what architecture is. So that's something else. But the reason I went into architecture is because in high school, I was taking a class, it was a circuits class, and I was tasked to build a model of a home and put like light fixtures around the rooms and things like that. And I remember my dad kind of helping me with that, building the model, putting the light fixtures and stuff like that. And I thought, this is a lot of fun. Maybe this is a career out there. And I also remember watching Extreme Makeover Home Edition and also playing The Sims. So it's a combination of all of these parts of my life that I didn't really, I knew I was creative like growing up, but I didn't really know that I could, do that as a career or use those skills that I had or have to do a career. But it was my dad that told me, you know, there's this in architecture, you can go. And he kind of took me to college because I was so indecisive. He told me, tomorrow we're going to college and we're going to sign you up. In Panama, we don't really have applications for, well, we do for public colleges, but not for private. So I went to school and I signed up to be an architect. That was it. It was nothing like I had a relative that was an architect or anything like that. It was almost like a spur of the moment decision. Yeah. And I'm the first generation grad in my family. So I'm the first one that went to college as well.
Mhm. Nice. Okay. So, okay, let's talk now about career experience. You mentioned it before that you study in Panama, so I guess you finished school, architectural school in Panama, but you didn't get licensed there.
Um,
No, you finished
um,
in the other country.
yeah, I finished here. So I went to school in Panama for 2 years. And then I got a full scholarship to come to the States um, to do architecture. And so I started again. So I went to Arkansas for 5 years. So in total, I did 7 years of school. Two, I think almost three in Panama, two and some, almost three in Panama, and then 5 here. So about eight. I would say seven and some. Yeah. And then I graduated here. So I'm not licensed in Panama, if that answers your question.
Okay, okay, you
Not
start
licensed yet.
the
That my
class.
goal is definitely to be licensed there. I just have to go through the process. But since I just got licensed here,
Mhm. Let's talk about that. It's so exciting.
I did my architecture licensure journey in 2019, before the pandemic in November.
Okay.
So I
And
did.
that was the like a study or the process with the NCARB and all that stuff.
No, I started studying because since I graduated from here, I didn't have to go through ESA. Yeah, I didn't have to go through that process. So I actually was lucky enough that my degree was accredited, which
Mhm.
is another thing we don't talk a lot about. I guess now we do, but back then when I had first moved here and I went to Arkansas, I had no idea that, oh, if you want to be licensed, you should attend an accredited school with a 5-year program. And I just got lucky. I could have gone to a school that was 5 years
Mhm.
accredited, and then I would have to go through the hoops. But I was very fortunate that I did not have to go through that. So I actually did graduate with a accredited degree from NAB, and I was able to start studying right away. Now, I wasn't born here, so I'm an immigrant, and I'm on a work permit right now. So at the moment, I didn't know if I was going to stay or not. Part of me, like I was supposed to go back home, but I couldn't find a job there. So I decided to stay here. So I went through the immigration process of applying for an H-1B to be able to stay. And once I had that for sure, I'm going to be here at least for 6 years. I was like, okay, maybe it is worth it to invest in getting a license, because if I did end up going back home after the 6 years, then I could still work in the States as a licensed architect, and I can have that certification or accreditation license behind my name. So I did decide to do that. So I graduated in 2018, then waited a whole year, and then I started my exam. So I started my exam journey with PCM in November, not knowing anything about the test. I just said, I'm going to study with this little book I found, and I started with my friends, and I took it and I failed, and it was horrible. But I also didn't feel that sad because I had no idea what to expect as the first time, and I didn't study that hard. I was just kind of like testing the waters. And so after that, I was like, okay, no, this is a big deal. These tests are difficult, so I need to invest more time. So I did, and I took it again in February, and I failed. And that was a very, very low point because I had
Which one? What test? What is this one?
management.
Okay.
Yes, PCM. I studied a lot and I just didn't understand why I failed. I just didn't get it. I was like, no. And I've always been a good student. I graduated valedictorian of my class. I've always had good grades. Like I'm not used to failing. It sounds bad, but it's hard when you have excelled for so long to
Yeah.
have that kind of crush. And it was a great learning lesson. I needed to fail. And after that, I took a break and I decided to go back to school. So I signed up to do a master's degree in environmental science, which never came to fruition because COVID hit. And I was like, well, maybe it's not the right time. So for my birthday in July, every year I buy myself a birthday gift. And I thought really hard about what I wanted. And I've said this in another podcast. And I was like, I want to be an architect. This is all I've want to do for so long, or to be for so long. And I need to close that chapter and move on with my life. And so I heard about boot camp. I'm not sure if you've heard about that program. It's a Michael Risica program.
Yeah, tell us about it.
It's kind of like it's a boot camp. It's a very strict program where you study for, I think it was 10 weeks or 12 weeks. I can't remember now. It's been a while. But they have a syllabus, and he kind of every week checks on you when you have it's kind of like going to school. You have a syllabus, you go through everything that you need to study, and after that you're on your own. You take your test, and hopefully it helps you begin structuring the way that you're gonna start studying for the next exams, but in a way that works for you. So during that time, you're kind of discovering what study methods work for you. Maybe reading, maybe taking notes, maybe listening to videos. So it's a really, really good program.
That
So
sounds so great. Hold on there. I love this. So is a boot camp prepare you how
yes,
to study, how
yes.
to be ready for tests, no matter what test.
Yeah. So
It's general.
they do have it divided. So they do have it divided, like pro practice and the bigger tests. But what really helped me was understanding how to structure not only my time, but understanding how I study best.
Mm,
And I think that was really helpful. And they have a big community. You can study with other people, and that's also very helpful.
that's
So
awesome. You should share with us the link. I will
yes, I'll
the
share the
link
link
up.
with you.
Mhm.
So yeah, I was like, this is what I want, and obviously I can't do it alone, so I need some help. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna pay this. It was expensive. I'm gonna pay this, and it's gonna be worth. I'm gonna squeeze the juice. That's my favorite phrase. Squeeze the juice out of the payment, or the investment, so that I can pass my first test. And I did. I bought it in July with my birthday month. That was my gift to myself. And then I started in October. And I started studying
October 23rd,
2020.
2020. Okay.
So that's a year after I failed my first, almost a year after I failed my first test. I haven't passed anything till now. So I passed my first test. Oh, I studied for 10 weeks straight with other people, meeting every single day. I went to work, came back, and I studied. No breaks, no nothing. Every single day, every weekend, intensely studying. And then I signed up to take my first test, and I passed. I passed PCM. And of course, as soon as you pass, you feel invincible. You're like, I'm on a roll. I got this. I can do this. And I continued to study for the next one. No waiting period, just continue. And I studied for PJM, and I passed. And then I studied for CE, and I passed in December. So I passed, yeah, so I passed 3 tests in a month because I took November and early December, 1 month.
What? That's awesome.
Yeah, it was
No,
like,
I never heard anybody did this. Let me ask you here. What is the difference that you think make that difference when you did the first test that you say I have no idea what I'm doing? You did the
mhm.
first test, you didn't pass, but you did the rest and it passed so quick. What was the difference?
I think community. Community was the difference. I know there's a lot of people that don't study well with others, but I think it's not about studying well with others. It's about listening to how others read questions and how they analyze things and how they're explaining it. I think that's what helped me because, as you know, I was born in Panama, so my first language is my native language is Spanish. English is my second language. Now I think in English, but for the longest time I thought in Spanish. And sometimes when I read something, I'm trying to translate it in my head, and that doesn't help.
Mm.
So the more I studied with people that their native language was English, the more I understood how they were reading the questions. Because in Spanish, we might phrase things in a way, and in English, we might phrase it in another way. And those like double negative questions or things like that, that was really difficult for me to read through and not kind of try to translate in my head. So I think that's what flipped the switch. That's one answer. And the second answer is that I met this incredible group of females that I studied with the entire time until I got licensed. I was the last one in my group to get licensed, and they kept me accountable. We kept each other accountable. And having people that understand what you're going through because they are going through it is what helped me. Yeah.
That's awesome. I think again, the whole plan for me to interview people is just, for me, this is very important to hear your story. It's very nice. It's unique. Everybody has different stories. And the fact you say like have accountability coach, they are pushing you to let's do it, let's do it. I try. I have not getting done, but I have a colleague that he is in the process. He passed 3 tests already, and he offered me, let's study together. Let's study together. I'm not in the point to study because I'm waiting for ESA results. It's supposed to take like a 6 month. And also, what happened to me, very disappointing, is like when I went and I put this here just to help people not, to be upset with the organization or anything like that. I don't like to be like a victim. I try to figure it out, things out. But NCARB told me that it's two paths that I can take. And it was one foreign architects as a foreign architect path, and another one option is to present my license in Costa Rica. So I say, okay, my license, yes, my license is not active because I moved 10 years ago. So I'm not, practicing Costa Rica anymore. For me, in order to active that license, it cost me more than $10,000 or something like that because I have to pay for the time I have not been paying monthly. I'm like, this is not good option. So it was over the phone with NCARB people, and they say, we recommend you to have license active. If they told me that, I don't want to give a chance and say, okay, it's not anywhere where I can see in NCARB. If you show me, according to this website or this chapter, you can read that you're required to have active license in other country or you don't. Guess what? 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I was checking NCARB. I was on seminar NCARB online, and they mentioned about this, and I bring that question, and they told me, do you know you don't need to have active license? As soon as you can present that you had in the past, that's good enough. I'm like, oh my God. If I
That's
knew
awesome.
this, it's
Yeah,
good.
always get a second opinion. It's just like going to the doctor. Always get a second opinion.
Right. And if I knew this, I would not going through ESA. Because now, so $2,500 for ESA to review my credits. Otherwise, I'm going straight, I believe, with NCARB. Maybe I'm wrong with this, but my understanding was going to NCARB, present the license, and then they, you know, the next step, I'm not sure, but that was happened. So again, it's disappointing because it could be easier and the step will be easier. But guess what? I also think like maybe it's not the right time to me to start study. Like right now I'm not in that process, but soon I'm
Yeah.
waiting. And also recently we moved to Florida, so I'm like changing stuff, work, and it was being like one thing and another. Anyhow,
Yeah.
that was my story, and I'm saying this because my advice is get people, connect with people is good because you hear their story, you hear resources. The boot camp you told me,
Mm-hmm.
no idea if I'm
Mm-hmm.
not hearing from you. So
Yeah.
this is awesome.
No, you're
Okay.
right. I think community and networking is important because maybe if you would have met another architect that was going through the same process, you would have known what
Yeah,
to do.
it's
So,
interesting because past colleagues in DC, when I was working in DC, two of them have finished school in another countries, Colombia, another Puerto Rico. I believe Puerto Rico is part of US, so they don't need it. But my colleague was finished school. The other one has license, um, and he took that way. But it was very different than my case. So it's just
yeah.
like I wish NCAR has more people to support, like give it more one-on-one,
Mm.
not only like call in general questions and I'm done with you, right? It's like, can you walk me through like a
Yeah,
or
office
sponsor?
hours or something.
I paid $2,500 for Isa to review my paperwork, but I don't have any support other than, yeah, we received that. And also, it happens that I submit to Isa and they
Mhm.
respond and say, we get the information. I always make sure they are in the process. Do not weigh anybody, weigh or relate to others, making sure they receive it, they need anything else from you, because the process is so long, like 6 months and waited. I submit the information. I'm like, is this all good? And they say, we review, we receive, we will let you know if we need anything else. Like, cool. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, nothing. I
Mhm.
email back, I call, we don't have anything from you. We don't have the paperwork. We don't have your documents. Oh my God, why? Right? Why this is so difficult? So it makes you feel like you don't want to deal with this. It's just so
Yeah.
many things. But again, when you want it so badly,
Yeah,
like you did,
it'll be
you
worth it at the end. It's difficult for everyone, I'm sure.
I know. If it's easy, everybody will do it, right?
That's what my boss always says. If it's easy, everyone would do it.
Well, Shadia, I think we will wrap with two last questions. Tell us about a little bit about the cost. Not much people talking about cost. I very open to talk about my process, how I get credits. I get credit cards to pay ISA process, and I tell them what I do because that's I will say a barrier for some people. Like they're like, I want this, but it's so
Mm,
expensive. Tell us if you have an idea how much you spend. I
I
will
do.
say maybe the career or this the school, it might be different, but tell us a little bit about when you start with a car, how much you pay, how much.
Um, I actually have
Like,
it on my Instagram account. I have a post in there that breaks it down, but if I recall correctly, it was about $9,000.
that's
It's
in car process.
Yes, only the NCAR process. So that's the course, the boot camp, the monthly little subscriptions for questions and stuff like that. All the books I bought, all the tests I failed because in my
Mm.
story, I failed PCM, then I passed them all in three, but then I PPD and PDD, I took and failed. Then I took them again, passed PDD, but then I kept failing like 5 times BDD over the course of 2 years. So I was done with 5 of the 6 in less than a year, but then I had to wait to pass the last one for 2 years. I kept failing. So I failed 6 exams in total. So that also added on to, because it's 235. I think it was at the time. I think it's more expensive now, but 235 per test. So it's not cheap, but it can be for some people. I mean, I know of people that have only used a book and that was enough, and they pass all tests on the first try, and that can totally be you. Just depends on how good of a test taker you are, how good your retention of information is, how well do you read questions, um, time management. It's a lot of factors. If you're not a person that gets nervous or any anxiety before a test, it just depends. But for me, failing 6 tests and then passing 6 tests and then all the added books and everything else, about $8,000-9,000.
Okay, that's a lot of money. That sounds a lot. I is still in the process. I is still paying, like I mentioned, and my biggest payment so far is 25, and I'm going to do the process for the test. Can you share with us how you pay that?
Yes, just my own money, my
Do
own
you
money.
work? Some
I work.
finances, credit card, loans?
No, I use credit card. Yeah, I use my credit card for everything. I know there's a lot of people that are fortunate that their jobs pay for their exams at least. That wasn't the case with my first job. They didn't support me in anything. They didn't pay for any tests. They didn't give time off. None of that. So I did pass my first my first 6 exams when I was at that firm. And then once I moved to Goodwin Mills Gatewood, they did give me the time off. They were very helpful. They paid for subscriptions that I needed, and they paid for my exams. So I'm gonna do a shameless plug, but advocate for your firm to pay for things for you if you work at a firm that has the possibility to do that. There's also a lot of resources. So AI Florida now has an ARI scholarship, and this is the first year that they have awarded it. I think all of the awardees got notified this year, recently, but they give $500 scholarships across the state. All you need to do is submit an application, so they'll do it next year again. So that's really helpful as well. And then I know local components too have scholarships that they award, and national also AA National has a scholarship as well, and they pay for that scholarship, pays for all of the tests.
Do you know, I heard about it, but I read in somewhere or somebody told me that this is just for people study in US, like schools from US, not for foreign architects. Am I wrong?
Did Jason I'm not sure. I'll have to check. But yeah.
Yeah, that's doesn't work for me.
That's a good question. I would have to check what the requirements are. I'm sure they have eligibility sentences in there, but
If you find out, please share with me so I can post it here on the end of the video. Um, yeah, it would be nice because this is all about foreign architects. I would like to know what is the
oh,
benefits.
talking about foreign architects, there's another scholarship that I know of. So the Immigrant Architects Coalition, I don't know if you know of that group. I have to connect you with them then. The Immigrant Architects Coalition, they also have a scholarship, and I think it started this year as well, and it's for F1 students and J1 students, I believe. I'm not sure if it's for the ARIs as well. I'll have to check. But they do have a scholarship, and they also have a mentorship program that's going to start next year. So for immigrant architects as well. So if you need any help with anything, we also locally, like in the state, have Incurb advisor. Her name is Gloria Clotter. I don't know if you
Yeah,
know.
I have it in the channel. Yes, I
Um,
interviewed her. I think
so
she was
Gloria,
my friend.
oh yeah, so Gloria is part of the Immigrant Architects Coalition, and she's also an ERCAR advisor. So there's a lot of resources. It's just about networking. So what you're doing is great.
Yes,
You're bringing people in, and people can hear what resources are out there and who they can
that's
contact.
awesome. Yeah. Okay, my last question. I was
Okay.
telling Shadia that I care about my health. I care for years. I've been the fitness industry, and I love being healthy. I love eat well. Also, I eat whatever I want. I feel energy during the day. Sometimes it's difficult to keep up with study and working, and eat healthy maybe is not a great combination for everybody, but tell us about how you take care of yourself or put your health in priority while you are in this process, or how you find out yourself to do anything, any activity that help you out to be
Mm-hmm.
healthy, you feeling like you are a healthy person. Tell us
Yeah.
about.
So on the physical side, I'm not that good at it, but I'm working on it. I'm working on working out and all that. But on the mental health side, which is something that we don't talk that much as well, after, like I said, I failed PPD 5 times. That affected me very much because I was done with everything except for that one test, and I kept failing over and over and over and over. And you can imagine that takes a toll on someone when they just have that one thing and they can't overcome it. And then a lot of additional stuff that we people deal in the field with, discrimination and all that. So I decided I was gonna start therapy. And so that's the way that I started taking care of myself. Just understanding how I operate mentally and what are the things that maybe might trigger me, what are the things that I can do to help me when I feel down. And so I started like going to therapy actively. I still do. I refuse to stop because I love my psychologist so much. But yeah, that's helped me in so many ways, personal and professional development, because dealing with different personalities, dealing with failure, dealing with personal issues. There's just so much that we as humans deal with. And I think just like we're offering professional services to people because they need to build a structure, we also have to seek for professional services to be able to take care of our mental health. And I truly believe that's what helped me overcome the failing over and over. Because sometimes it's just in our heads, it's all in our heads.
That's awesome. I do believe like when you once you recognize that you need help, that's when you start healing,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's just the position like I know some people like, no, I'm good. I'm like, I'm great. I feeling great, but you don't look great. And
Yeah.
your performance and results and how you connect with work, or you try to study and you feel sleep and all that, it affects. So I think good for you that you find a way how to keep yourself going, because
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day it's not a quick fix. It's
No,
something or a tool that you use it to keep
correct.
going and to get to get the goals done
Mm-hmm.
later in years. Like I told everybody, like the fact I do exercise every day just it make me feel great that day. I can't
Mm-hmm.
die tomorrow. That's life. I can die in 10 years. But the fact I'm doing what I'm doing is because I want to feel great today, now, and not go bed with headaches or stomach problems or like really have that stress in
Yeah.
myself.
And
So
the best thing you can do is to invest in yourself in all rounds, physically, mentally, professionally, personally, investing in yourself in anything that you can do. Yeah.
okay. All right. Last question. We're done here.
Okay.
I love it. We will stay here forever talking.
Yeah.
But tell us your advice. Tell to somebody like you went to the process from the beginning, started an architect, what advice it come to your mind, or what maybe you know what why you will tell to yourself 10 years ago or 5 years ago when you start all the process? What is the best advice you can tell us today?
Live in the present and don't worry too much. But if you want something really hard and you work hard for it, you will get there no matter what. And that it's not a race. You're not racing against all these people. It's your own journey, it's your own marathon, and you'll get there when the time is right. And, you know, when things will work out and will fall into place when they need to. And then again, living in the present is really the most important thing, because like you said, tomorrow we might die and we didn't live in the present because we were worrying about. Just live in the present. You're studying for your exam, study and go take it. Don't worry that what if you pass, or what if this, or what if that. Just live in the present and enjoy the journey. Enjoy it, because at the end of the day, this is an investment in yourself and knowledge that will help you in the long run. It's not just for the little paper. You're actually learning during the process. So
Thank you, Shadia. This has been great. Thank you so much for your time, and thank
for having me.
everybody for check this video. If you want to get notification to see more interview, more foreign architects, and also I'm in the journey to share with everybody how it's staging. I'm in the living room and it's a little bit messy right now, but I'm sharing the YouTube channel also how we staging our home in Florida, and maybe they get some ideas about design or the stuff we buy, where we start staging the house without no furniture. Like this furniture is being like one of my friend gave me this furniture, and it's just like we love it.
We
We
just
love
moved
our
to
space.
Florida. It's amazing. Okay, we have to talk offline.
Yes, we will do. Okay. Thank you, everybody. We will see you next time. Thank you, Shadia.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Hey, hi! Can you do me a favor? If you like this video, please give it a like or subscribe and share with others. This is about foreign architects, and we tell you our stories, how we came to US and get our certification as architects who get licensed in US. Please subscribe and share.